Greetings, everybody. No lipstick. Oh my goodness. Hair disarrayed. I'm here. Where is the time just melting? Bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, on this beautiful Advent journey, which is taking such incredible journeys all over the galaxy. So I'm sure everybody is being very busy in their energy right now. It's fabulous, but it's not as easy as we would like it to be to hold on to the light, because as we hold on to the light, the dark is also there. So we have actually, many of us have really been holding on to the light and the dark simultaneously, and it's with equal space and equanimity. Where's that word from? Hey, hi Clint, how are you? Enjoy the ride. This is an interesting ride that we're doing. One that I didn't really quite anticipate. Each day is different, and that's really about the mother right now, is just going with the flow, but creating at this moment. I will touch on you boy things. Shame, you poor guys. This is so feminine right now, and there's just so much big feminine energy pouring on the planet. Actually, let me touch on the boy stuff first, but let us just like this. We're working into a pathway to the stars, which is another one. There's so many stars at the moment. Hello, my lovely. So, yeah, I think the girls are being like, yeah, over-flooded. There's no such a word, my plumber once told me, but it's over-flooding. I said, there is a word. It's over-flooding. So let us just light this beautiful, sacred, feminine smoke of the Holy Spirit, of Holy Essence, which is very pure and sacred to Shiva. So there is this incredible masculine. Oh, I wanted to bring that in. Oh, I didn't. I haven't time. It's so crazy. Anyway, so I'm doing the Mary stuff. It's because it resonates with me. So hold on. So it's been me for a long time. So with a deep love and devotion and sacredness, we bring in this space, and we bring in your essence, beloved men. Beloved Shekinah glory of God, beloved CHRISTOS, SOPHIA, beloved Shakti, all faces of the Goddess we bring in at this moment for today, encompassed in the divine light and essence of Mary. So let us just bring in a little sacred prayer. And of course, there's always Shiva and Buddha and Christ. But beloved Mary, Mother of light, before light was born, I open the gates of my heart to you now, Holy Mother, dwelling of wisdom, hidden flame of God, star of the ancient future, come and be with me. Wrap me in your mantle of golden tenderness, opal grace, and the deep blue of your eternal protection. Let your presence descend like soft starlight into the chambers of my soul. Mary, Black Madonna of the beginning, Mary, Rose of the morning, Mary, Throne of Sophia, Mary, Shakti of the Holy Spirit. Enter this moment as Mother, as Guide, as Light. Let your breath become peace in my body. Let your hands become healing in my heart. Let your eyes become clarity in my mind. You who carried the infinite, carry me now. You who held the child of promise, hold my spirit with the same unshakable love. You who stood at the gates of death and life, stand beside me in all my thresholds. Mary, Mother of all nations, Mother of all who call, Mary of all who seek, I welcome you. Be the star above my path, the well within my silence, the pillar of fire before my steps. Dwell in my home, in my work, in my breath, in my becoming. Let the space become your sanctuary. Let my heart become your temple. Let my life be your offering of love. Amen, amen, and amen. Let's just hold that sacred space for a while. Healing love, bless you, my sweet. And I need to confess, this is taking me on such journeys around, which is beautiful. Yeah. You know, Healy, you have no idea how huge that means coming to me from you, my sister. Because, no. Oh God, I really should have put lipstick on. Hold on, you know, I have two things that are really sacred to me. Tea, if there's no lipstick and tea, so just hold on, I have to do this. My ego, I can't let it go because I have, but I can't let it go because, you know, I can't have stuff now. Just it's a really bad day. My mother always, it's just that I look like a real ghost without lipstick. So I have this craziest skin. Oh, you've got my beautiful braid. There we go. It looks a little better. It's only like one or two shades that work for me. I know. Thank you. I can only wear like deep black kind of purple with very little red, or chocolate brown. The others do the weirdest things to me. So, okay. So I had really hoped to start on the Black Madonna today, but there's just, the universe just wants me to unpack more. And this image here is the mother from the Hindu stuff, and I want to just finish some of that off. And before I no, I don't wear makeup. I have no makeup. It's just lipstick, and then I do this. That's my little secret trick for years, very occasional. That's why I didn't know I was going blind, because I don't do mirror work until I close my eye to put eyeliner on, which I do like maybe 6 times a year. And I close my eye and I go, oh my God, I can't see nothing. There's nothing. So, yeah, that was like kind of a shock. This is explained why I was bumping into doors. So, I wasn't out of my element. I was fucking well blind. And then it just got worse. But anyway, stress. So, we were up to yesterday. Where were we up to yesterday? Just wanted to actually, this is my notes for today. There's completely other. There's like a huge planet. There's a beautiful moon. So before I forget, I will try to post, but you're not on Thingamajiggy. The moon is going to happen like this again in 18 and a half years, which is a moon cycle. Scotty boy, I love you. Scotty boy, you are very busy out there in the etheric, and I'm going to cry. You're doing so much hard work, so much big work, my love. You love you so much, Scotty. Thank you. Driving your flipping truck. I thought it was somebody else. Actually, I thought it was Johnny Depp at first. I had this thing for Johnny Depp. And then I wrote the crazy dream down. We were driving in France, blah, 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 this is my personal stuff. And then I thought after something, no, that wasn't Johnny Depp. Because I always said, well, I go to France, do you want to go to Johnny Depp's house? You go right in the way I went, you would go left. That's Scotty. Scotty, I don't know if you know how much work you're doing out there in the astral, but thank you. Your love goes before you. And it was so beautiful today. I mean, it was just, I don't write much because I always make mistakes. Don't forget, I don't see much else. And it was just so wonderful in Truthwave because once I got there, I just saw Scotty. So I love you so much, Scotty. And Heaney. So just before I forget. So two things. We've got this moon thing happening tomorrow, which is just absolutely amazing. So it's going to be huge. It's called the cold moon, but it's going to be the biggest that it's going to be in 18.5 years. And it's going to be very high up in the sky if you're in the northern hemisphere. When Grace arrives, we'll tell her it will be low in the sky because she's in the southern hemisphere. But it's actually having a most magnificent dance. It's every day is happening in the planets at the moment. And I don't usually follow this, but I have to now, and I have to post this. So I will post actually on my YouTube because not everybody has but it's actually, please don't miss it. I hope that you can see it because she's doing a dance with the Pleiades, all 7 sisters, and she's going to dance in front of some of them, and some are going to be hidden for a little while, and she's going to dance around the Pleiades. It's also, everything has to stop because we have to go and dance with the Pleiades right now. They forget that we have human bodies. It's very easy to jump. It's more and more easy to we can all jump out. So just know that you can. So, oh, right. Oh, goodness, yes, of course. Will that be? I don't know when that, oh, golly, who knows? I hope I get a notification. And with all this, like, Trinity of the Feminine stuff, it's called the cold moon, yes. Yeah, I can just, like, post it. So much stuff. And they've just discovered all this whole planetary system of serpents. And there's such exciting stuff happening. It's in the east, okay, so enjoy it you can see it with your naked eyes. I hope I don't miss Jared's. I could really love to do it. It's December the 4th. It will look bigger and brighter than usual because it's closest to the earth. Step outside. I haven't got that here. Why didn't I do that? I didn't do that. Or did I? Some way. But if any, no, I haven't. Yeah. I've got to bring out this is my brain just for today. The center. For what dwells, this is Rudolf Steiner, for what dwells inside of man is the whole spiritual cosmos in condensed form. In man's inner organization, we have an image of the entire cosmos. That is very Hindi, it's very Vedic, because I had a Vedic guide. I said that we've got like this incredible machinery. Just looked at me with this beautiful smile. It's like, no, we've got a whole cosmos inside of us, which is why I'm so grateful for having done such a lovely, wonderful swim and deep dive into the Vedas right now. But we have like a lot of like interesting things in the planets right now. So the sun is in wait we've got like almost everything, everybody is retrograde. Jupiter's retrograde, Cancer's retrograde, Jupiter's retrograde in Cancer, Saturn's retrograde in Pisces, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, and Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. And I do believe we have Mercury retrograde as well. And Mars is in Sagittarius, Venus is in Scorpio. Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius. So it's like really interesting. Grace, my beloved, don't miss the sky tomorrow. And the moon is doing a dance with the Pleiades tomorrow. And it's going to be the biggest cold supermoon for the next 18 and a half years. So you can go look at it. But it's going to be very low for you. It's very high for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. But I think it should still be east, is still east, no? So if you look east, you should be able to see, or you'll find the Seven Sisters. You're not going to see all of them because she's going to cover some of them, but she's really dancing. So, so much beautiful stuff is happening out there at the moment. And before, so a lot of people, I'm not doing that because it's, the Mary stuff, it's really interesting. I've lost, where's my book? I'm sure I had it just now. I was just in front of me. A lot of people for a while, a lot of women, a lot of guys too, have been doing the Magdalene, Lilith, and the dragon riders, the dragon lineage. I've kind of looked at it, but it resonates. But this is my thing. I've made this stuff up, and for me, it just makes more sense. The Scott and the Christopher, the Mary and the Sophia, and the Shakti is obviously just so beautiful. It's the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine. And just you guys jumping in there. So that's what I'm doing. Other people, and Mary Magdalene, the Magdalene stuff is maybe for some people who didn't have such a rough time. But you know, the only way I knew anything about the Bible was because of what I learned from school, and then I did a deep dive myself into what was being written. Yeah, just me, myself, God, and the chair. My green chair at 5 o'clock every morning. Go and pray and read. I miss those days when Jesus would just sit on my bed and wake me up and come and talk to me. They were very pretty. They were simple, much simpler. For the guys right now, because there's just so much feminine energy, so don't feel left out. And obviously, if you're blessed enough to be, we're all working with the Shiva Shakti stuff, the union and the awakening of the Kundalini, or very gently, the awakening of the spine. I found some amazing music, which is just like, and it's so interesting, the Shakti music is so gentle, and it's just, I was doing this, just meditating to it, it's like 20 minutes, and it was just such a beautiful, gentle, super awakening of the Kundalini. Yay! Oh, Grace, beautiful. Oh, thanks. It's the lipstick. But for the guys, it is the crystalline Buddha, the Shiva, and the Christ mystery. So I don't know where you would get them. It's that's your Holy Trinity. I might dip into it in January, but right now I'm doing a lot of this roomy stuff, which everybody is doing. Yeah. And we're just, in between all of this. In a way, this is not what I want to do. It's not what I'm doing, but I'm doing it because it needs to be done. So I'm just trying at the same time to just pour in the light. Yeah, no, fishing is awesome. Just, it's that stillness. I don't think I could do fishing. Or fly fishing is a little more technical. Okay, so as I said, a lot of people have been doing that Magdalene. I related very much for many years because I'd had a bit of a rough time to the before I was 21. An incredibly rough time. And I think many women related to that biblical Magdalene, the one that we were officially told where she was a prostitute of redemption because of what the male whole energy just poured upon women to shame them and disgrace them and guilt them. And, women haven't had a nice time, and nor have men. And it's just so interesting how we'll talk about this on Friday. We will do this on Friday. How it's the more it just like jumps into my thoughts as to how the role it's completely opposite to what we should be. That it should be the divine power feminine and the gentler man, but we've been so programmed, like so wrong. You meet a lot of like. Anyway, okay. So yeah, as I said, we've had all that in the West, so which is millions of us, and it's kind of swept hugely the world of the blame, shame, and guilt game. Yeah, and that those are the lowest on the oh God, I can't remember his name on that scale. Yeah, it's not that half person, but it's the other scale, that scale. So let's just finish off where we were yesterday. And Grace, please, straight after this, if you have time, let's like connect verbally. Because I'm like really, I don't know whether I'm tired, exhausted, or energized. I think it's all the same. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it. We're just so. I love you so much, Grace. I feel you so much, and I want to just like connect even more and more on it. And this is what we've got to do, guys. And Scotty was like so there. I know he needs there. I don't like feel her per se, but I know she's just huge. She's there. She's like the solid, good Jewish friend. Ah, who's talking? I don't want to do anything right now. Ah, go away. It's an alarm to do something. What am I supposed to do right now? I don't know. I don't know if Scotty knows what he's doing. I think if everybody's doing, if we're all out there, some are just more conscious about doing it, but just really connecting more and more and more, and just allowing that and allowing ourselves to trust. It's so difficult for me. I mean, I know so much and I trust so much and I accept so much and I see so much, and it's still so difficult just to like be who I really, really am and to let that shine. I'm there and I know who anyway. But it's just, and to know that we can connect and to just allow that. And it's fine. Sometimes it's okay to connect with some people, but it's the same thing if I were a rich man. Da, da, da. The Jews are always singing. Hey, they've had a rough patch. But that's good. Everybody needs a good music friend in their lives. Scotty boy, thank you. I want to cry. Hello, beautiful New York Debs. I love you. I do know New York, so I can jump there. Feeling all these things at once is it's not normal. No, and we're feeling so much, and it's going to get bigger, and next year is going to be even more. So just ride with it. On my walk at the beach at twilight. Oh, and I had one today, Grace. I didn't want to come home. I'm doing these night walks because I've told everybody to do night walks. I was just like, oh, absolutely. We'll talk about it later. I'm like tripping without the drugs, which is always nice. Oh, I love it. We fall into, I'm not, how do you fall? But trust is earned, absolutely. Trust, and you know, when trust is broken, it's a vase that's broken, it's cracked. Thank God that the Japanese do that. I think there's a beautiful name they have for it. When they repair, and the Chinese do it as well, they repair porcelain and cracks, and they fill it with pure gold. And it actually becomes even more beautiful and more valuable. They don't just throw it away. So that vein of gold, which is the vein of the Holy Christ, it's the vein. And when I say Christ, I don't mean the Jesus we've been taught. You know, that if we think like what we've been taught, that was like Leonardo da Vinci's gay lover. Being gay wasn't allowed, but he was his manservant for 30 years. So he had a very long-standing relationship with him. And he was the son of a nobleman. And that's his picture, and that became the Christ, the Jesus that the West, have, or whatever. So it's okay, everybody needs, but it's like been complicated for the black people because they destroyed their black Christ. And I'm doing the Black Madonna, and it's just getting bigger. It's so enormous, Grace. And I really, really hope that Grace is going to come and talk to us because she has so much beautiful, beautiful wisdom to share on many things, but very beautifully on this topic. We're so similar, but we're so different. Grace was brought up as a Catholic, she had that Catholic in her. I mean, I did go to Catholic school, except they expelled me because I've been like molested. So, I had this strange thing with the church and with the nuns and all things. Like a love-weird relationship. Yeah. You see God, he sees God as bliss and joy. Huh. Scotty, that's fabulous. No wonder you're traveling all over the world. These supermoons for 3 days. Yeah, the supermoon. So if you didn't hear, it's doing a big dance with the Pleiades tomorrow. So it's going to dance in front of them tomorrow. So if you look to the east, and I'm just odd. What's new, Scotty? You're just going to get odder and odder. Love is very odd. Love is the weirdest thing on the planet. We have no idea what it is. So we just keep trying. So I'm trying to unpick some of the stuff so we can say, okay, that makes sense. I mean, that was like for me, the Jewish men generally, I mean, they'll have affairs, but they put their women on pedestals. It's not everyone, obviously, there's always exceptions to the rule, but with our Western stuff, that's more the exception to the rule. She is the goddess, she's the mother, the lineage is passed through the mother, she's hugely venerated and put on this incredible pedestal. And very seldom do they leave their wives. Yeah, they will have affairs, but don't leave. Yeah, and that's the way women need to be loved and adored. But at the same time, what was that old the question? What does a woman want? What does a woman want? What does a woman want? A woman wants her own way. Yeah? And behind every successful man is a woman. And the best way that people, and I'm not good at this. I don't know how to play. I don't know. One of my clients, she wasn't Jewish, but she married a Jewish rabbi. He wasn't quite a rabbi, but as good as a rabbi. I had some very interesting clients, and she was a showgirl, and she just looked at me and she said, "Oh, you don't know how to play the game." I don't know how to play this life world game. I haven't been here. I'm very new, really new. I think I might have popped in once or twice, but I don't know if I came in as a real birth thing, or if I just like materialized. I feel comfortable when my body's liquid, and that's where we're moving into that. I'm talking about all sorts of things that I wasn't doing. So we are back to all those floods in our bodies melting. So just keep going it. Yeah, the 7 stars, it's the Pleiades. Yeah, the 7 sisters. And the Indian thing, they don't look. They 7. What are they? Not divas. But there are 7 mothers. But they hold like things like illness and disease and poverty. So they have the Indian, the Vedic stuff, even Venus is like, it's the Luciferic. Venus is not, but let's just keep with what we see it as, yeah. And I don't say we've all at some time come from the Pleiades, but many of us. I mean, we're moving into whole new territory, guys. We're moving into our astrology is kind of over, and we're moving into our galactic astrology, but let's not go there right now. I said our chakra system is changing. It's pretty much over, and after this solstice, this has never ever happened in. I heard somewhere that this is one of the oldest planets, and we are, how many are we? 450 billion years old or something. His name was Rico. They told Luciferian spirit we were very suave. Down to the, ooh, who is that? Come on, Scotty. Her name was Lola. Oh, my Lord. But Lola wasn't a girl. Take a walk on the wild side. And nor was Betty Boop. She was an African American. I love Betty Boop. I thought she was so cute. But when you read it properly, the cartoon is about being abused. And she was an African American showgirl. And that was like very sad in America because they couldn't use the bathrooms. They had to come in the back entrance, and they couldn't use, what did they call it? The jazz. That's where that comes from. They couldn't use the jazz. Oh, my Lord. She looks like a woman. She talks like a man. Oh, my Lord. Different things for different cultures, and don't judge each one individually. I think we went through this before at Sirius. Oh, there's too many planets jumping at the moment, and I've tried to keep up with it. So I don't know how you guys are keeping up with it. I've been having with the Pleiades, a lot of the African, the San American, the San American, the Bushmen. Let's call them Bushmen. They don't say it's not PC. It's not politically correct. But the Bushmen come from the Pleiades. They say the Zulu don't. I'm not sure, I can't remember. They know they're children from the stars. I can't remember exactly where they come from right now, because there are a few different things. The Dogon come from the Sirius structure, Syrians, but the Syrians are the galactic temples. Are they very high temples? Like they say, Jesus came from, Joshua came from Mary, the original starseed, and and when we pass, we go back to our star system. So the energy which has been happening, man, this is fun if we just talk about this, is that we are all remembering. So if you're remembering, and please just trust it, write it down, do it in pictures, Google. I actually just unearthed my iPad and I started drawing. So that was what my son bought it for me for. So I need to start drawing on that because I've got quite lazy. That's the other. Please watch. It is eating our brain. I've said this like 100 times. Be so careful of what you are putting, especially on the phone. They are controlling us through this effing phone. Be so careful what you are watching, and how quickly, or be observant to yourself, how quickly you get sucked into and distracted. It's just consuming. There are some people that, put these things in little bags. They won't even have them anywhere near. So, and yell at my bushes. Good. Only in Germany. I remember in Germany, the first year I was here, the cold sun. It was colder in the sun but we had the biggest snow. It waited for me. We had snow. We had the biggest snow since 1958, and the lake even froze over. And it was like -14, which was quite fun. And when I would go out into the sun to go and have a cigarette, it was colder in the sun than it was in the shade. It was like weird. And I would say to the Russian girls, like, how do you cope? And she looked like really ashamed. You know how we'd be ashamed? And she said, we wear real fur. So, the Russians can wear their bare skin. Our nervous system adjusting to new frequencies too. I just looked somewhere, I didn't like how many miles we have of nervous system, how many miles we have of capillaries, the other one, and how many bones we have. So I think we've got 108 bones, the only one I remember. I think it's 70 miles of nerves and a few thousand miles. And our intestines are so long as well, So our body, it's this cosmos. It's like it's working all the time. And we're just tuning more and more and more into our body. So because our body... Hey, we'll discuss this on Friday. Remind me. It was, it was a very, not a nice thing for the German boys, because the American boys had Coca-Cola and cigarettes and stockings. Yeah. Make me want to cry. A lot of, the German camps, I didn't know that. He told me German girls loved him, yeah. There's so many German camps, I didn't know that until I got here. So many American military camps. I mean, we were really ruled by the military after the war. And of course, Berlin, didn't belong to Berlin at all. There's nothing in Berlin was German. It was divided up to Russia, to France, I'm not sure, to Britain, and obviously America. But there are German camps, military camps, all over. Yeah. And obviously there were many interracial and mixed marriages with German girls and African American boys, army boys. I think they sent a lot of African Americans over here, actually. But don't forget that all those beautiful trucks, those big things that you see in the war, that Germany was driving all over and taking the world, they were all made by Ford. Ford thought, they thought that this was a great person. France's battle cry is surrender. That was just so That was so interesting because the guy, a German guy, he's actually been doing like huge amounts of work with his mother, and his father's a judge or was a judge in Germany, and he was doing experiment. His mother was suffering from Alzheimer's, so he started feeding her LSD. Now he lived on LSD for like over a year every day, him and his girlfriend. And they would keep it in the fridge, and they would like he would write it up on Facebook, and even the police came around and they searched, but they didn't find any, and they didn't really know what to do with him because his father was a very well-respected judge, retired nonetheless, but still, like, what are we going to do with this guy that's like advertising LSD? And his father took LSD as well. Very, very, very interesting conversation. And worked hugely. But I just saw now that they're actually working with frequencies to actually change impulses and to change like Alzheimer's, and having huge success with that. I think the line is very fine between electrical shock treatment and impulses to the brain. We've still got a lot of luck. We've got a long way to go. A long way to go. But we'll go quickly by God's grace. Well, what did I say? Yeah, those three base chakras, all of humanity, the plants, the animals are taking a whole. This is just unconditional love from the huge big Umkhulu, the great big boss. The boss, I used to call him the boss. So everything is going to be shifting after this solstice. So get in connection with your triple goddess, your triple burner. It's always the three, and if you don't call it a name, if you look at it, the Christ mind of Buddha, the Shiva, and the Christ, the Jesus. So it's that very, very holy, holy, holy Trinity. Somewhere we'll discuss where Jesus went to learn, but I mean, as I said the other day, if you just come, what did he do in those 18 years, Anyway, where does light language come from? Gobbledygook. It's in the frequencies. But can we find them? Well, you have to just sit and tune in, and literally just tune in. How do you tune in? You have to just emanate from your heart, and emanate from your body, and emanate from your brain, and just raise. That's how I do it. And just raise the consciousness. And then when I take walks, and when the spirit does come upon me, and I get these blessings, like a hug from the universe, I just try to hold on to that. And when I go out, it's like, what does the universe have for me to say to me on this walk today? And I'll look and I'll see, and I'm blessed that I do see. And sometimes I don't, but I very often do. Or I have a picture in my head that I know that I've once done it. So I go back to that, which is creating the Buddha all around. And just tune back to that and just hold that. The whole thing, that's the thing, whether you call it meditation or whatever, is holding the frequency. And the longer we can hold that frequency and be that pillar of light. And that's just it. The biggest thing that we can do is just to be a pillar of light. So all this wara, 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 fish paste is just about being a beautiful pillar of light. Grounding into our Earth Star, and elevating ourselves up to our star chakra and the heart. And it is the heart, and it's the upper heart. And I had all these weird things happen inside, and I didn't know. I was like, what the heck happened? And then I was like, oh, it was just love. Love does weird things. And that they have also, that was Greg Braden. They're not tuned into Greg Braden. And they had just discovered this tiny, weeny, weeny little thing, this little pearl that sits within our heart. And it's real, okay? And that I've said for years and years and years. It's all that I've been had to prove it. I had to live to my truth. What I say is that we don't need anything. It's written. Where is the bubble master? Is I did speak to him. He was climbing today. I giggled because he was climbing to ground, and I thought that was so sweet. He was climbing up, so he could ground. So yeah. I love light language. I hope that you do it, that we don't. And it's just gobbledygook, you know. I used to always say to my mother, African people are speaking rubbish. But I find that like tuning into singing and sing to our beautiful mother. She loves it. Your Asham chakra. What is the chakra above our head? That's the crown chakra, but then we have the star chakra, which is above. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. And we're holding, we're feeling fine, but we're not really feeling fine. Because we're also holding the dark. We're holding that grief, and we are fluctuating. So it's quite normal to be fluctuating between we try to, this is the whole thing, is to try to get ourselves as balanced as possible so that we don't fluctuate too much. But we're holding both frequencies. Many of us, not everybody. So just, it's normal that we're holding both frequencies. And oh yeah, your dreams. You can be having like really, I mean, I'm just dreaming in like serious, like so trippy stuff. And it was a while ago and it's happening again. You might feel that you are having a big poo or giving birth. A lot of people are having poo dreams, and that's just really like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. If you're thinking about poo, it's the violet flame again. It's always working, and I really strongly believe it's like hugely the frequency of what we're going into on our new earth. But yeah, we've never it's never. I'm jumping all over, but I'm sure you've got it. That the frequencies and what's happened, and it's taken a lot of, because we reached a super point. So a lot has been taken out of our hands, and if you're connecting with your galactics, that the galactics, you know, we've flanked by, they call it the swan on the side, and we've got, I've just had this vision of Isis. I have pictures of that Isis here, who's holding with her wings. She's holding and protecting the child. So that's what I'm just feeling at the moment, that we have Atlas on the one side and we have the swan on the other. Whatever it is, you know, you make up your own. Just, if you want to connect, you can connect. And it's just, we have to do a thing about just connecting. You don't have to pay anybody. The petal lotus, absolutely. The 1,000-petal lotus. You don't have to. You do daydream, Scotty. It's called daydreaming. That's the best stuff. That's the best stuff. And many people, I mean, who it's half-hour intervals. Well, it's 3-hour intervals actually. So you can divide that up. So it's 1.5 hours. I was told that one of my bank ladies, because we work with sleep. And we don't need that much sleep. But if you keep it in like 3-hour intervals, so you sleep for 3 hours or 4.5 hours or 1.5 hours, or what's half of 1.5? Is that 20 or 40 minutes or something? So many people would do that 40 minutes. Many. I know Edison did it. He would sleep with something like a ball or something. He'd take a nap. Winston Churchill did it. I can't think of names, but many people do that. Like, who's Marilyn's thing? The Kennedys. When I'm not supposed to talk of stuff, the words won't flow. But the Kennedys also, in many people do that. It's like, it was like portrayed as the 20-minute power nap. But work it out. I like to work it out from a 3-hour. or they sleep with the, something that's a ball, metal ball or something in their hand. So then they fall asleep and then they'll wake up. And that's like, then you can really like, then you're in the void space. You can go and create, you can pull all sorts of stuff out of there. It just takes a little bit of training. Start from the child chakra, open it up and release all it holds. I like that one. Then close them up. Scotty, that is beautiful. I like that one. You see, that's you also you come from the top. Because many people say, no, you say, and it was like, but always like, it comes from the top. I don't work with it from the bottom. Many people like do the red going up to the violet. And it's above the pit. Okay, it's above the, and the way I do it, and start at the bottom. I see colors, red, orange, yellow, etc. See them swirling around that part of my body. Okay, beautiful. I will post this beautiful, beautiful music. There's lots of beautiful music. It's much, or I'll tell you what it is. So I'll write it in here. It's so exciting. They are, I don't know, they've come from England. She said, we're just two people, two musicians who love to do beautiful stuff. And it's for me, it's just absolutely exquisite. There I must go, and there I must go. So this is like complicated for me. Push buttons. And please sing to the mother. As I said, whatever, just that's why I like light language, because I don't have to sit about what I think about. And we've got such a cool logo as well. Let's see if I can find that now. I'm sure okay.
I wish more women over 60 knew. Tai Chi was created for tired bodies that haven't moved in.
This is the boys' stuff, and it's cute. But they are called mantras of the mystics. I'll write that. Mantras. And what's really nice is they've actually got all the English words in it as well. So I just love this stuff. Indian music is just like so like deep house music. A lot of this sacred music is house music. And this stuff you can just like go. This is particularly beautiful. This is really that the boys stuff, the Christ, the Buddha. The Indians, they all believe in Jesus. The Muslims, there's no problem with that. So, and there you'll find this incredibly beautiful. If you look on their playlists, you'll find like Shakti music, and I was like, it's so gentle and it is just so beautiful to do this meditation. Mantras of the mystics, y'all. Who's our songbird? You say zig, I say zag. Yeah, I will go backwards. I relate. Yeah, Trista's tuning fork. I did it too. It was beautiful. I did the heart one. I've been doing them. I just want to change my time that I do them so that I actually rather catch them in the morning. But it's not so that I can do it in the afternoon. Her heart one was so particular. And she sings like a little songbird. She's so pretty when she sings. To get her on to sing for us. That's what we have in common. blessed Scotty, we go backwards. And I have to stop myself all the time. I always have in my life. I always get the cart before the horse, you know. Like, I just do it. It's like this incredible faith maybe that I have. But okay, this is totally stupid. But like if like I'll go to town and I will buy groceries. So almost always I'll say I will buy groceries and I'll go to town. No, I won't. I'll go to town and I'll buy groceries. So it's like with so many things. I stop. So it's like I'm always doing that. And it's just kind of normal. So I always do this crazy backwards flip. And I can reverse very well. I can reverse a motor car like I'm driving forward. I have poems. Oh, please, Scotty, you must maybe share if you want. Some of those are just so beautiful. So please, we need to just go, Krista. Wait, what did I say? Just go. Just go. Yeah, it was, you know, that was like, yeah, that was it. Alive and well and happening, you know, Saturday Night Fever when I was like, you know, taking over the dance floor. Not much, not as much as people think that I did. Who, me? I need to smile now. Or Trista. Trista also needs to smile. They always used to tell me to smile when I was dancing. Who are you talking about, Scotty? Me? Or Trista? Trista needs to also smile. We'll put a Krista and Trista. We have to put us upside down. I have to think to smile. Okay, so let's have a look at this blessed. Let's go in. I think it was I had to come down. So, you can walk. Wow, Scotty. You know what's so weird? I can't chew gum and talk German. That's crazy. Wow, Heaney. Oh, Heaney, that's so beautiful. Oh, well, both of us. So just, I shall, yeah, no, I need to, they would often tell me to smile. I can be, you know, I have to remember to smile. She does. She does. I think we'll have Trista on here soon. I'm actually going to jump her in here if she will, because we need it now. We can't wait for her to go through all the chakras, which is a good thing. Huh? She's doing it's really beautiful. But time is of the big essence right now. Oh, quick. So let us just. I do need to jump into this, otherwise. It's so weird. The brain is so crazy, and I can't speak Afrikaans. I used to. I'm not that I could, but I could. I could actually do consultations in Afrikaans, and I did. They're crazy. Seriously insane. I did some of these real farmers, like seriously rich farmers out on God. It's still like the nearest neighbor is like 25 miles away. But then they have their gatherings, the farm gatherings. I suppose they do the same in the States. And yeah, I had an amazing teacher in my final year. I did like all these extra classes so I could get like nice marks. And he was actually the head of the college I was at. Dr. Creel, he was amazing, and he smoked Camel Plain non-stop, and he always wore alligator shoes. And because in South Africa you had to get 50% for to pass Afrikaans. Anything less than that was a fail, and then they failed the year. So you could get like 100% in everything else, but if you failed Afrikaans, you had to repeat the year. So they really wanted a bilingual country. But I did like living in Africa. Not like I should, but I'm not. I'm here right now. Africa, interesting. Yeah, it's like I've looked very, very different to anybody else from South Africa. But I suppose everybody has a unique. But mine's like seriously weird and unique. It's like the universe has to keep reminding me that I'm really not like everybody else, and that's okay. So he loved it. Yeah, it depends. I don't know where they went. Africa is a big place, and so is South Africa, a very big place. It was great for white people, South Africa, and it's like the Africa I tuned into when I went in 2015 was very wow. And then I found all these old magazines that were advertising Africa from the 70s and the 80s. So those were times that I was brought up and that I grew up and I knew. And was just like sick. Totally twisted and sick to because they opened their doors to anybody that had a white skin, because the population, I think even now, I think it's less than 10% of people are white in South Africa. Maybe it's 20, no, it's not, it's less, yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, and it was fabulous. Oh, okay. Thank you. I will write that down. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I love South Africa. I mean, there's so many different people and cultures and all of that. But for white people, it was great. You know, food, the cost of living was cheap, and everybody had servants, plural. Almost everybody had a live-in servant. Most people had 2 or 3. You had a nanny, you had a cook, and you had a gardener. But your nannies there, they weren't allowed their partners. Everybody had to be home. They had pass laws. You couldn't. They had curfew. You couldn't be outside after 6 o'clock. So I didn't see those things as a child. I didn't notice that. I lived in flatland, so that was very different. And then we moved to a house, and we didn't have a sleep-in person. Yeah. We'll talk about that. I can talk. It's different. It was very different. But for most people, they, and even me, you're still like, it's so programmed, even though I wasn't programmed, but it's still on the periphery. And yeah, food was cheap, cost of living was cheap. You didn't have to clean your house. You had somebody, even if you didn't have but everybody had servants. I still remember, and then I didn't. When I got married, I was like, I still had to like clean my bedroom on the weekend and holidays and under the bed and make my bed. And when I got married, it was like, I was used to doing like putting my clothes away and tidying up my room, but oh my God, the rest of the house, like, where's Mary Poppins? Mary Poppins was like very big in my life. What the fuck? Where's Mary Poppins? It just doesn't happen by itself. So it was very, very difficult for me. And then I would get somebody in like once or twice a week. But like a lot of my personal clothing, I didn't put it out to wash myself. I thought, oh God, I can't. Like, you can't wash my stuff. There was this woman next door to the Afrikaans people, terrible. She would make her iron her undies, her knickers. And if she burnt them, then they take the money off your wages. And it's horrible stuff, guys. Really, horrible. Yeah. Is there going to be a quiz in tonight? Yo, I don't know what we're doing. He was in a few places. Zimbabwe was beautiful. I knew there's Rhodesia. I spent a lot of my holidays, my granny, not my Oma, my mother's mother. This is a weird case, an interesting case. She lived in, not always, my mother didn't come from Rhodesia. It was like her 8th or 9th marriage. My father said at the time that if you added up all the divorces that were in my mother's family, it would make the Guinness Book of Records. I don't think he was joking. He was German, so he did the maths perfectly. What is it called? Finding Sugar Man. Didn't write that. So yeah. And people enjoy it very quickly. People that come from England, they learn very quickly. It's amazing how quickly you can learn to have a servant. Yeah. I miss it. I mean, here, just even the garden, I would have somebody who would do I did most of my garden myself, and I did really heavy work, but the real heavy work I didn't do myself. And when I was here before, and I don't have a garden now, I would get the young guys across the road, and then I would buy them beer, and I would they would come dig a hole for me here. Zimbabwe, Rhodesia it's very different. But I will watch Searching for Sugar. Did I say finding? Searching Sugar Man. But we will. I will do another. I will talk about South Africa. I don't know which part. There's so many different parts. I remember when I came back I was on a holiday, and I came back and it was wonderful. When I'd gone all over Europe, and I was 14, and I came back. We flew back on South African Airways. Not first class, just normal class. We ate rump steak on plates. And when I got back, I wanted to kiss the tarmac. And I cried. I was so happy to be back. Not that I had a horrible time. It just was the biggest surprise. I really didn't expect that to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Are you using a bad word, Scotty? Did you say a bad word? Which word? It's fornication under consent of the king. Which they say is a myth, but it's not really. But no, let's not go there. Let's have a look at our blessed, beloved mother, because we need to unpack this a little bit. So, poor Mary. Poor blessed Mary. So the church, I think we've been through most of that, how they broke the feminine. So very briefly, there's nothing brief about this. It took them a good 1700 years to destroy it. So, was obviously that the early Christians believed in the Holy Spirit, the Sophia, the feminine as God, Mary as the human embodiment of the Divine Mother, the Shakti as the power of God, and Jesus as the Logos, born from the womb of the Mother, the Holy Divine Child. Okay, Mary Magdalene was considered the embodiment of Sophia, while Mary, the Mother, was the embodiment of the Holy Spirit. The early Christians saw the feminine as creator, wisdom, spirit, womb, presence, and power. These are the white dudes, okay? And But the problem was obviously that men couldn't control this wisdom, that it was a little wild. So they decided, because they decided to disempower it bit by bit. They removed Sophia from public worship. They erased her from the liturgy. They declared her symbolic rather than divine. They suppressed the Gnostic texts where she was central. They absorbed her titles into Jesus and renamed the holy wisdom the Hagia Sophia, but stripped the whole feminine identity. It's actually Muslim, so it's like a whole complicated thing at the moment. So they just slowly stripped. They became, instead of the female goddesses, they became those crazy saints, and it became the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which was neutered. It became like, you neuter an animal. It's not neutral. It's like completely de-emasculated or defeminized. So it became this whole like, and it's really deeply rubbed off into the whole of society. It's not just this. So they divided the feminine into Mary the mother as pure and passive, and Mary Magdalene as sexualized and diminished. Sophia they just completely erased, who was wisdom, and which is what we're looking at, the Christos Sophia right now. The Holy Spirit, which I like to see as Shakti. I'm not going to confuse it because it's like Lilith, or that's another slightly different path. All the same, but slightly different. The Holy Spirit they made neuter, and the Shakti energy they condemned as pagan witchcraft or heresy. And of course, when they went over to India, a lot of those things, they made them, they were horrified, the Brits. And there's not that much sexuality in the temples of the Shakti, the Shiva Shakti, but it is there, and all the goddesses have these amazing boobs and are adorned beautifully. And there are some temples, the Shiva Shakti temples, where there is like quite explicit, and of course this was partly the Victorian era, so she was demonized, and and of course the snakes were made evil, and so they all like rubbed off. And just remember that but she was a raging nymphomaniac, was dear old Victoria. But let's not go into her. So the first line of suppression was the language manipulation. So, the word, the logos. So they erased the feminine by changing the language. In Hebrew and Aramaic, the word for spirit is ruach. It's not rauch, but it's close enough to smoke, which is grammatically feminine. In Greek, the word pneuma is grammatically neutral, and in Latin, it is grammatically masculine. Spiritus. Ami, amo, amas, amibus, amitus, whatever. This shift alone erased the mother spirit from the Trinity. And that started with the Greeks, and obviously into the Romans. Was a very patriarchal society. I don't know why. Well, it's fighting. It's the war, and it was conquering the world. Alexander the Great did it so differently, he didn't fight. He only fought once, really. And that's why it's like bad luck to put your feet on the table, because he did that. And that was basically the sign that it was the only place that he allowed his guys to rape and plunder, because they fought him so hard. But most places were quite open to letting. And he left a lot, because he wrote diaries, and they like 80-90% correct to what he wrote. And when I'd finished, and obviously I did a deep dive into him because my son was called Alexander. I read the books afterwards. I just wondered why people hadn't followed the same way that he did. And he embraced each culture. He didn't try to change them. He didn't make them all Greek and believe what he was. Maybe it was 300 BC. I still use that old terminology. Because he embraced, that's why he was so loved and so wonderful, because he embraced each culture. He became a Egyptian priest. He became priests of all, or wherever he went, yeah. And the Gordian knot, I mean, that was like he whoever could like unravel the Gordian knot would rule the world. Well, he just thought a little out the box and he just cut it with his sword. He said, well, okay, now it's unraveled. So Persia, he just like, and people, they were so happy to have him take over. And there was like almost every child was called Alexander the Great, was called Alexander. And he got his men to intermarry with the people there. So, and he gave them salt, which was a big thing. He made salt affordable for everybody. And he didn't rape and plunder their women and plunder their society. He encouraged like learning and all sorts of wonderful things. So yeah, so that was a slightly different, with a more feminine approach. His mother was also, she was a bit of a harridan. She slept with snakes, but she kind of like wiped everybody out that was in the line with him. But there again, we have trust. I mean, I cried so at the end because he was brought up. Oh. Oh. That's why the trolls are so terrible. Oh. I don't know. It's like I did bits and pieces of that, The Course in Miracles. It was written quite interestingly. I always thought it was written by Marianne Williamson, and then she did a lot with it, but it wasn't written by her. It was kind of channeled. I downloaded it somewhere, but I haven't read it. There's so many things, Scotty. We can't read everything, so it's choose what you want to read. You know. Who's into politics? No, don't think so. I'm just trying to catch up here. I missed it all. Oh, Jesus! Is Jesus the Christ? Oh, thank you. He was. You know, he was just. Well, we're going to go. I mean, it was absolutely no doubt in my mind. I don't have to read about it. I just know. And the knowledge of like the proof just keeps like jumping up for me. So I will research it and like give you all the proofs about it. That I mean, I just always wondered where he'd went for those 18 years. And it was like, okay, maybe I'm thinking he went to India. You know, we had interesting discussions when I was like growing up, when I was like preteen. I mean, not preteen. I was young, I was little. They believed in spaceship, and that was at the time it was Paul Heyerdahl. You know, people didn't believe that people could travel, could go by boat. And there was the Kontiki expedition where he did that around the Pacific Islands. He made a boat, and then there was the Ra expedition where he like made a boat like they had in Egypt, and he sailed around the world with it. Just to prove, and then whatever, you know. And there was also, what was that other, anyway, it doesn't matter, fingerprints of the gods and all of those. So yeah, he destroyed, and that was, yeah, absolutely, that was at the beginning. And you know what's just so disgusting, because I've plucked at this that those popes, there was one who was so disgustingly stinky that people didn't have to they would vomit. They didn't have to come and kiss his finger because he stank so much of rotten gonorrhea, syphilis, and there's really only one way you get that disease. And it's not from sitting on toilets. And they, you know how many of them had children? This was just so like wrong. is it was just, and even now, today, I mean, all the abuse that goes on with little boys, like Alexander has he has a Jewish godmother and he has 2 gay godfathers, and he's Roman Catholic and he's Catholic. It's complicated, So, Paul's very Catholic, family's mother was very Catholic. I think there's 7 or 8 children there. And Charles, that's the other sad. Charles was ostracized from the church for being gay, so he had nowhere to go. It was that whole 80s thing of gay people. It was very, very sad. There was, now you have gays for Jesus, etc., and all of that, but they weren't allowed to go anywhere. I remember having my own revelation because we were like, those. And it's written, but just remember that we don't do Jesus. What the church does is Paulism. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. As I say, if you've been in the church for longer than 3 years, there's something wrong with you. Get the book, read the book, and get out and do your own stuff. Believe my Jesus. My Jesus is wonderful. I do not do Paul. I think that the Paulism that the church teaches, Paul was a closet gay. He was a misogynist. He really didn't like women. This guy that was blinded and on the way to Tarsus. And that's what they teach is Paulism. There's very little Jesus taught in the Bible, taught in churches. And the biggest thing is what did Jesus, what are the last things that he said? Whether he was on the cross or not on the cross, and I don't know, we don't know. That he went to India after he was on the cross, or that he went to France, we don't know. Or that Mary went to France or Mary went to India. We don't know because both have their graves. Okay. And then there's the Jesus that that went to him. I don't know. And, we will know one day. But right now, those things, they all right. And people, we don't want to have a war about it, the French are want to hold on to Mary. The churches in France are very beautiful. But anyway, we was talking about Paulism. Get behind, said. Jesus is. You got to just read it sometimes simply, and the big stuff will. What? Are you talking to me? Oh no, it resonates. It's huge. I don't know what you're talking about. No, there are no coincidences. Absolutely not. That's weird, hey? Yeah, so yeah, I do. So Jesus, I believe very strongly, and there's a lot of texts that he did study. That he very possibly went to Egypt as well along the way. And I do think that he went with Mary Magdalene now. And Mary Magdalene now, I do think, was the son of Joseph of Arimathea, who was a shipping merchant. And those, though, they records. The Jews keep records of everything. So there is a record of Jesus being born, for sure. But there's huge records of him in India and in Tibet. He obviously, this child that was, well, let's not even go there. That was really, if you think about it, he was 13, 14. He hadn't disappeared to go and buy chickens. He was having these intense discussions. And there are a lot of kids today that are doing this, these intense discussions with the rabbis, and obviously asking interesting questions and questioning them. And if he had those, and he was, I believe, strongly somewhere in a scene or whatever, but without what I want to do today. And that was part of their huge belief system. So what happened between that time of 14 or 13 and 30 when he arrived back and then preached for 3 years, and all he was preaching, and he did everything that a mystic, a Hindu a Vedic saint would be doing. He talked about love and peace and kindness, and he would run away and go and meditate and then come back again and spend a lot of time in meditation. Before all of this, I would just say that Jesus was a girl in a boy's body, because he couldn't have come as a girl. It wouldn't have been acceptable, because he had that feminine and that beautiful, caring spirit of kindness. Because remember, it was a very patriarchal world, but that was not always so with Judaism. That was destroyed. Somewhere with David. Somewhere. Who knows where? So she was a psychologist. Thanks. Yeah. That's why. So okay. So that was because she was a That's correct. Thanks, Amy. Oh yeah, we've got them here if you want them. These. Okay, so let's actually do this, because the Ethiopian church, and I connected with them a bit in South Africa, and they're just so beautiful. They are so, they are dressed, they like meet in parks, and they have all these golden standards and books, and Alex took millions of pictures of them. And they dress in beautiful white and gold, and they have their incense, but they're out in the open. And that is the Ethiopian church, which is like really beautiful. And the Africa, they don't read the Bible. They don't know what's in the Bible. Oh, what were almost the last words that Jesus said? Behold thy mother. So, what did he mean? So we have to think of Mother Earth. But the church here, and I read a thing here, it's like they say that the mother, when he was said that, because I asked, and it's like in Germany, it's dead. No, that's what the church here, they say that the mother that Jesus is talking about is the church building. I want to vomit. Then there was this thing here where people came to our village, and we've got this very sweet little old church, was built in 900 or something. And then there's a newish, slightly away from another place. It's also it's a very interesting building. And these people were doing a write-up and relating to this fucking building as the mother of God. I mean, please help us. And they walked around, they walked around and they looked at the stained glass windows, and they could really relate to this church as the mother. So this makes me know that the NG Kerk, die Neder-Duitse Gereformeerde Kerk, which is the Church of South Africa with all the apartheid, literally means the North Duitse German Reformed Church. And they build these crazy architectural things on every street corner. So, but I don't want to go there right now. So, Spiritus, so they used the language, they raised Sophia. Then we had the canon formation, the silencing of all the feminine scriptures. This was in 367 CE. Bishop Athanasius published the first official list of New Testament books. And they excluded the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Thomas, or the Gospel of the Egyptians. The Pistis Sophia, very interesting book I have read. Timofik, Trimple, Temple, Numpelopolipgia. Thunder Perfect Mind. I really have to Google that one. And the Odes of Solomon. Okay. These were the texts that explicitly taught Sophia as the Divine Mother, Mary Magdalene as the embodiment of Sophia, the Holy Spirit as feminine, the feminine as co-creator, the cosmic womb theology, and the union of masculine and feminine within Christ. There are a lot more. There is also obviously the Book of Enoch. But you know what? We're moving into after all of this, I'm just going into the Black Madonna, and after all of this, it's nothing. So that's where I really am, is really nothing. So I'm hoping just to give you this quick boom. It's so that you can just skip through it. If you want to go into it a little bit, go into it. But please don't get stuck here, because it's written on the temple of your hearts. And that's what we need to be, because it's all new right now. But it just, for me, just makes like a little bit of freedom. And it says, okay, so, we know bits and pieces of it. About the burning of the witch and all of that. So we know bits and pieces. So definitely don't know the full story. But I'm just hoping to give you another aspect of trying to put it into some kind of perspective. So these were the texts that explicitly taught about Sophia. She means wisdom as the Divine Mother, and Mary Magdalene as the embodiment of Sophia. The Holy Spirit as feminine, the feminine as co-creator, the cosmic womb theology, the union of masculine and feminine within Christ. Because remember, most of the church, women can't teach. They must become nuns, and it's only the abusive. Or what else talking about the Catholic boys? For God's sake, don't send him to a convent, don't send him to boarding school. Stuff happens. Instead, the canon included texts with patriarchal bias, institutional control, hierarchy, authority, male-only leadership narratives. But remember also, a lot of this came from Empress Helena of Constantinople after her son died. Constance, then it was a very political move to embody Christianity. And she was like quite a super bitch. She was a great leader, but it was a political move to embrace Christianity. So erasing the feminine meant, and this is the problem when religion becomes part of the country. So we had that in Germany, we had that in South Africa. It becomes a problem. And we have that the Holy Roman Empire. Because it wasn't then, it was just a continuation of Rome, and then it became the Holy Roman Empire. So Rome never stopped. Theology was rewritten with feminine roles completely reassigned. The early church fathers worked systematically to remove the feminine divine, feminine authority, feminine language for God. They replaced it with masculine, only Godhead, male hierarchy, the neutered Holy Spirit. Nobody knew what it was anymore. Male only incarnation of the Logos. The word Logos, the divine word, originally included Sophia. They hardly even used the word Logos. In the beginning was the word, and it's all different, which included Sophia, wisdom, as the feminine aspect. The church fathers split them apart. The Logos became male. Sophia was just a metaphor. The spirit was neuter. And Mary was just a human vessel only. She was just a baby maker. She just carried. She was the Holy Virgin who carried. And really, Mary was like between 12 even and 16 when she was pregnant. She was young. They don't tell you that. The triad was dismantled. The Marian reduction, the humanization strategy, Mary could not be erased. She was way too beloved as the mother, the goddess, the woman we all needed, the mother. So they reduced her from cosmic mother, holy wisdom filled with divine power, to a temple initiate, mystic. These are written. This is part of the Ethiopian stuff. The conscious co-creator, the vessel of Sophia Shakti, the God-bearer in a cosmic sense. To a quiet girl, a humble, silent, obedient, modest, passive, non-initiated, accidentally chosen person, which is what, like, women in the West, you know, and we like shout and scream about how terrible arranged marriages might be. You know, I don't think. Oh, I had lots of tears today, and that's okay. As I said, we're carrying everything, you know, and it's fine. So just yeah, I love you. Yeah, Deborah was wonderful. She was a warrior, and I can't remember. I read also a lot of books. It was the Red Thread, which was so beautiful, and then there was a wonderful book I read about the marriage, how the old marriage, Jewish marriages, they haven't changed that much, so that like related to the virgins, Esau virgin. So, I mean, he learned somewhere else and he came back and adopted some things to the people, to the local culture. I used to read a lot. I miss that. I'm so glad I did. Oh, are you a raised Greek author? That's very interesting, which is a lot very different. So you still had the SOPHIA, and there's the Greek, the Russian Orthodox. I would love, you've got to tell us about it. Yeah, I did read it where it was like, what? I know, they kill my father, and then I mean, only afterwards I realized that he obviously didn't know the Bible. So I think he was an ape or a Jew. I don't know what he was. But I went through this whole happy clappy thing, and then you know that everybody's got to be blessed, and if you're not, got to be saved, and if you're not, then you're of the devil. You know, you're possessed. So my father also had a very, very bad stutter. Obviously, he had tough times in life. So, and my mother also became. I went through a phase of burning a lot of her books. I do things too extreme. And we still said, "Oh, look, Madame Blavatsky doesn't want to burn." Oh, fuck. Yeah, I do regret some of those books I burnt. But anyway, fuck, you know, that's what Hitler. Anyway, let's not even go there. That place is wicked stuff. I've been through a lot of that today at the moment. Oh, you know, the angels like asking me. We're asking right now all these things, all our deepest, darkest secrets are coming out, guys. You're going to be called to account. So just do it. It's okay. However they come to talk to you. So he went to one of these, and they're always big, you know, there's thousands of people and they these huge buildings. One of those like happy clappy Pentecostal things. So he went with his significant other partner, girlfriend, and he thought, okay, so he wants to go and see what this is about. My father was like that. I think like his father, like let's know what the people do. So, and then they came up this thing, anybody that wants to go for healing. So he tried, they can't like hypnotize him. He tried many, many things with his stutter. The only thing that he didn't stutter was really get him to talk about the war. So you know what, he didn't stutter once. Anyway, so he went off for healing and he said, so he came, he was furious the next day. Oh no, I'm telling you a wrong story because he took the book, but it doesn't matter. He came back and he was furious. He was like shaken. He was ashen. Because my mother worked for my father, so they were like at the office from Monday to Friday, and I spent a lot of time there. And he said, he was like, these people, and then he was angry, then he didn't stutter. So they took him down to this room and they locked the door, and he said it was Nazi tactics, it was Hitler tactics. And he said, let me out, I don't want to be here. He obviously had serious flashbacks. And they wouldn't let him out, and everybody was starting to pray for him. And obviously, he started to get a bit freaked out. My father was a very commanding man. I'm telling him that he's demon possessed. Eventually, he did get out, but he was beyond furious. That this was exactly Nazi tactics that they used. It was very later on, I thought, interesting. But he came back wasn't that same weekend. He came back, he'd taken the Bible home and the easy version. And he came back, and my father's cash book was called the Bible. He made money. He had, and that nobody could look at it. It always had to be hidden away, put away. And it was told my mother passed the Bible. This was his own personal cash book. Anyway, so he took the revised edition of the Bible home, and he started reading, and he came back and threw it on the desk. I was there. He said, "What the hell is this? I have never, ever read so much war and killing in anything I've ever read or seen." So he didn't get very far. So there we go. But there's all sorts of wonderful things about Noah and how they didn't know how they were going to have children after the flood. So his daughters fucked him and got him drunk and then fucked him. And then there were lots of kids who fucked him up the bum. There's all sorts of fabulous things. And it's written there. I mean, how do you just read this stuff to kids in class? So, and then there's another one in King somewhere where they fucked this girl to death and then they chopped her up into little pieces. So, yeah. So we try. So there's Grace is she's an Australian, born Italian Catholic. Well, as my father's, and I think he was Jewish. The more, often I think about it, I don't know. Hey, who knows? He was an atheist German Catholic, not a Roman Catholic. But in South Africa, you don't have much choice. Roman Catholic. Okay, so we're back to the sweet human mother. Shame. So they reduced Mary from the embodiment of Sophia and Shakti to the sweet human mother. Her divinity was replaced by moral purity, emotional tenderness, and maternal softness. She became sentimental. Her sacredness became sentimental. Her mystery became more morality. And her power became meekness. And obviously they reduced Mary Magdalene to a fallen woman, a prostitute, which she wasn't. And there was actually a very, very strong bond between Mary and Mary. So Sophia's erasure. So yeah, you do a lot with Sophia. She appeared, but they're not really nice. But anyway, appeared hundreds of times in early Christian texts. To erase, and in the old Jewish texts, she's wisdom. Song of Songs. They claimed Sophia is just a poetic device. They replaced the feminine pronouns with it. She was no longer she was it. It is the Sophia, it is the wisdom. They moved Sophia from creator to creature. They equated Sophia with the church, which was male-led. They merged Sophia into Christ, erasing her distinct feminine identity. So that's where you get the Christos, Sophia, but it's the merging of them. It's like the Shiva Shakti. This stripped the feminine of cosmic authority, pre-existence, co-creator role, independent metaphysical standing. And if you think how brainwashed our poor masculine society has been over the few hundred years here, Sophia became abstract, no longer a face of God. Shakti's demonization, the power strategy. The church encountered Shakti through the Essene mystics, the Egyptian traditions, the Syrian Christians, the Desert Mothers, and the early Gnostics. Shakti was experienced as Kundalini, prana, ecstatic revelation, mystical power, divine feminine fire, and good fucking sex. They labeled her as sorcery, witchcraft, pagan practice, heresy, delusion, bodily temptation. Poor woman. Eve, poor Eve. Power was dangerous because it bypassed the hierarchy. I say some people are doing the Lilith, It's not my thing right now. I know about it. My daughter did it. It's fine. A woman empowered by Shakti had direct revelation, direct healing, direct spirituality, no need for priests. Thus, Shakti was condemned to preserve control. Shakti is so much more well-rounded than Lilith for me. Yeah, she's the Black Madonna problem. No matter what the church did, the people kept seeing Mary as dark, cosmic, and powerful. The Black Madonna appeared as dragon lions, goddess sites, ancient water temples, and old European power centers. We've known, or maybe you didn't, but all the groves, that's where they built all the churches, which were also stolen architecture from Solomon. And they came back from the Crusades and then built the churches. So all this. Instead of, that's why we did that whole like African thing and the Silk Road, which was with the Muslims and the Chinese and the Indians and the Africans, and everybody just shared knowledge and they discussed and they shared like medicine and Ayurveda and they shared herbs and this works and that works and they smoked a little bit of this and they had a little bit of that and the wise people came and people made money and there was slavery. Obviously they had some slaves but nothing like came later. And they would discuss between themselves. So, life was not that bad until the Western people came and saw something that they wanted, was greedy. I wanted it for myself. And then, of course, the slave thing. Anyway, let's not go there now. The church could not, we've done that, could not stop this. So they used these strategies. They reinterpreted the dark colors as soot or dark. They kept it like it was like sooty covered. I must actually, that's really been interesting. And I must do a little dive about it. Grace, do you know anything about it? I've got a picture of it. And, you know that there was a big fire in Chartres Cathedral. And then the Chinese came to rebuild it. Did you know that? But anyway, they've always come to rebuild. They're very good. Everybody doesn't like the poor Chinese. I love the Chinese people. I love the Russians too. I do. Very good. A soft spot for Mr. Putin. So they have I didn't know. They have a black, I haven't been to Chartres Cathedral. I just like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So there was a Black Madonna, a statue of the Black Madonna in Chartres in the cathedral. And when they cleaned it up, it's now become white. So we'll have to dig deep into that one so people, they don't know. This is like a whole controversy now. Because they said that was really from soot. So I don't know. It was just unveiled a couple of last year or something. So this is like people might not say it was soot, okay. And Grace she'll tell us that they're all over, and there's apparently tons in Germany here as well. So big, and obviously Russia. Because I knew Russia, he put out a lot of the Black Madonna stuff, the Black Jesus stuff a couple of years ago. Putin did, he did himself. And they called her strange or mysterious, but avoided theology. They allowed her miracles, but not her metaphysics. They separated her from Sophia and Shakti. You could have miracles with Mary. They allowed devotion, but blocked empowerment. They hid the oldest Black Madonnas behind later whitewashed art. A lot were art with all the other art in, not all, but a lot of the art in Europe. They repainted the faces white. So I've done a big study of this for the last few years, and there was just so many African people that lived in Europe. In Germany too, they've got their crests. They lived in various areas. Denmark was half black and half white. Russia, they had black villages. China, everybody was all over, just this late thing. So, just like, I don't like to say trust me, but trust me. It'll all jump up. So, like right now we're talking about this, so there's a lot of stuff jumping up about the triple goddess of the Magdalene. What's her name? I've just forgotten her name. See, that's why I don't do her. It's goes. When I'm not meant to goes. It's like so funny. The Black Madonna was the living triad, and her presence was a direct threat to patriarchy. The Mary Magdalene attack, the final break. Mary Magdalene was the face of Sophia in the early church. Her roles apostle to the apostles, Christ's inner circle, the revealed teacher, the mystic, the embodiment of the gnosis, priestess. I think he did love John as well, but he did also love Mary. They've actually found a whole lot of interesting writing under the Last Supper, which he wrote. So they've managed to see it with the X-rays. I did a thing on it a while ago. To erase the triad, they had to erase her. The strategy to recast her as a prostitute, which was by Pope Gregory, and there was no biblical basis. They removed her books. I mean, they do stone women in Muslim things. And don't forget that the Muslims are Jews. They hold that Abrahamic promise, because what was her name? Hagar. Because there was Sarah, who was like way too old to have children, and then she said, go and shag with my servant and go and make babies there. What was her name? Hagar. Maybe he knows. I can't remember offhand right now. So there he had Ishmael, and then he had Isaac. So they both came from that divine promise of Abraham. You've got these clappy songs. Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham. I taught them like Sunday school, because if nobody was looking after them, the kids would play doctor, and nobody cared because everybody was upstairs singing in their happy clappy tongues. Fuck. Anyway. They removed her books. They eliminated her authority. They split her from Mary the mother. They disrupted the feminine line of wisdom. By destroying Mary Magdalene's role, they severed the final link in the triad. It makes sense to me also, this whole pulling away in science that happened in England and in Germany, and how they removed the wise woman. Let's just talk about the birthing woman. And then women should go to hospitals, and it was only the doctors that knew any good, and they would wear these aprons, and the wise woman would boil water and do wonderful things. And she's like a bird. And Madonna is amazing. Madonna is actually, I didn't like her music personally. I've just got a thing. But I'll read not her autobiography. She hasn't written that yet. As long as she's behind in front of it. And when I worked, it was in the 80s still, she came out with that book, In Bed with Madonna. And it was sealed. I worked at this bookshop that this really exclusive books, it was called. And obviously we all wanted to look at the sealed books. And I just thought at that time, I thought, you go, girl, You're giving it to the public before they actually get it on you. Before they publish and talk bullshit, you actually saying, here I am, guys. You want to be in bed, but which was, and then I read a really interesting article in something like Fortune 500. I can't remember that, something like, about what an amazing businesswoman she was, and she would, and then it was also in bed with Madonna, where she would have, she allowed the crew to go anywhere with her, except when she was making deals. So she never let people know how she made deals, but she's quite phenomenal. She is truly a woman, and her name's really Madonna, so she can do what she likes. But she really does embody her Shakti and her Sophia. You know, she's got not hospitals. She's got a hospital in Malawi. She does a lot there, and when it's her birthday, she always asks for money or donations to the beds and things. It was apparently, I haven't watched it, but there's actually, she's done an amazing interview about her spirituality, and she's done that for a long. I mean, she got very upset with the Jews, because the chief rabbi, because he didn't roll out the carpet for Madonna. But she's been doing Kabbalah for a long time. She's very interesting. I would actually, with her biography, which was not an autobiography, I read a couple of them because she just like absolutely fascinates me. And then I did like her music when she did that. What was it? When she paired up with Jelly Bean, but that was, she was going out with somebody else, and she dumped him on the dance floor, and went and like made out with Jelly Bean and like had an affair with him because she wanted to do music with him. But she's pretty much done music with everybody. She's a very interesting woman. Very fragile, but she's very interesting. So yeah, so go and hunt that down. I don't know who she did it with, one of the big people. You can just look at Madonna's interview. I think it could be quite interesting. But yeah. And I would get the girls, the young teenage girls, I would tell them that they need to go and read this book. I would lend it to the young girls. I'd say, you don't have to be quite as hard as Madonna, but go and stand on your truth. Be who you are. Tell people to fuck off. Define what you wanted, because she took over. She produced all her own music, because otherwise she would have been totally like everybody else. So did Marilyn. Marilyn started her own company and produced her own films. She managed herself, and because she'd, sleeping your way to the top is that's the tame version. So Madonna, so it's called Maverick. The company. I know quite a lot about Madonna. Actually, quite a lot. You have a pig? Pigtails. You have? I know. You've got pigtails. I only got one. I don't know sign language. What do you use a chair for? In bed with Madonna. Ooh. Oh, so you're near Sydney. I don't know where you are, Grace. I must ask you where you are. Because I keep finding some people that are in Australia, but it's like, do you know my Auntie Agatha? My Auntie Barbara, she was a farmer in Australia. You must know her. That's what they do to you when you come from South Africa. So, yeah. Madonna. And she won't get married again. And she looks absolutely amazing. I mean, what she does. But you know who's even more amazing is, what's her name? Grace Jones? Grace Jones. She's got no time for Madonna, so I think Grace Jones even more. Grace Jones is like 75 now. That was like quite a woman. And when it was the Queen's Jubilee, I think she was 75 or 72 then, I don't know. She did a concert, and while she was singing for the whole song for like 10 or 15 minutes, just remember the age, she hula hooped. She had a hula hoop. I mean, come on, respect. But respect for Madonna. I mean, she did this concert. She was almost a year that she toured. I mean, she almost died in between that. So I like Madonna. I got a lot of respect for her. I used to really relate to her. I think, oh God, we've come to that. I actually related to Madonna so strongly. She's definitely one of my icons. But I didn't like her music. I don't like her music. Only after, what was that one? That blue cover. And somebody said to me, you've got to listen to it. It's like amazing. And then it was like house. Marriage is a scam. Well, you know, when you talk to people that have arranged, not everyone, but a lot of arranged marriages are just amazing. And it's like listening to some Indian people, and it's like they never tell their kids that they love them. Like, why? You know, it's nothing like more loving than an Indian mother. It's like a Jewish mother, you know. But they never tell their kids. It's like, what for? Why? But, you know, a lot of arranged marriages, they look at the charts, you know, you have like the Jewish people, you have the matchmakers, and you get people from the right area and the right, a good well, not always generation. But that's going to be beneficial for both families with similar education. They have it in South Africa where you have Lebola, where you not Ebola. Lebola is where you've got to pay cows. Now you pay money because your daughter, you've got to pay for the woman, which is right, huh? If she's educated. First year, now if she's got education or she's got university or whatever, then the lobola goes higher and higher. So, you know, it's a whole like financial scheme for both parties. And if they don't like you, then they send you back to your mother's home, or they walk around you a few times and then you're divorced. But the arranged marriages, it depends who you talk to. You know, most people, like, I remember listening to this, talking in the waiting room to this lovely young Muslim boy at my lawyer's. It was like so sweet. And he said, no, he just bought himself a flat, and it was like quite a nice, expensive area. And oh, that's very nice. And he was studying, and he's building up his stuff, and then his parents will find him. So he marries him, and then his parents will find him a wife. And I said, oh, that's so sweet. He said, okay. He said, but that's absolutely wonderful. He said, I trust them, and they'll find the right wife for me. And it's like, just the absolute trust. He was so sweet. So sweet. But yeah, I'm going to have and you make it work. You don't think about it because like it's that whole American thing, you know. It's clothing and all of that. We would fix things when they were broken. You know, the divorce, just marriages, it is a money transaction. You know, when they and I'm sure I don't know what the Indians do. I mean, they have. I've been to an Indian wedding. It's exquisite. And that one didn't work. He was very abusive to her, and so she got divorced. Oh, Scotty, you just loved women. And I'm sure women have broken hearts. You have a trail of, you know, it's like Krishna. It's, no, let's leave all of this now. The aching the aching vaginas. Okay. You know, it's so real. It's tangible. This whole Western stuff, it's all under the sheets. And oh my goodness. The Abrahamic Christian mythology. This is truly mythology because this is stories with like big pieces missing, so nobody They thought nobody would ever find the thing. It's like they said in South Africa that nobody would ever find what happened. They made it so complicated. Sounds like the church. Okay, so by destroying Mary Magdalene's role, they severed the final link in the triad. That she was a teacher. She taught the women, her and Jesus had good discussions, talked about the stars. They fed each other. That's why I love the whole Shiva and Shakti, the Shiva and Parvati stuff, because he's always going, every now and again, he goes off to go meditate. And then she does her bathing and her girl stuff, and don't disturb me. And then they do stuff together, and then they do stuff separately. And she does stuff with the girls, and she does stuff with the guys, and he does stuff with the girls, and he does stuff with the guys. And they do it with the boys and the girls. And then they just like, I've had enough, I'm going to meditate. He doesn't go partying without her. He goes off meditating with his bull. Anyway, and she goes off too. She goes and like plays Durga Durga or Kali Kali. But no, she likes to know. So she's just Parvati and she meditates. She's got her prayer beads and her water and her lotuses. She's like quite happy there. Not right now, she's doing all this stuff. Once the feminine was erased in doctrine, they erased her in images. So they painted the dark ones white. They made wisdom into young. There was no more this old lady. They made power into softness. She was like a doormat. Cosmic mother versus the European mother. This virtually removed Middle Eastern features, the African ancestry, the cosmic womb symbolism, and the primordial feminine. Another layer gone. And so the result, as we have in ourselves, is the result was a broken feminine. The triad became fragments of Mary as the human mother only. Sophia is just a metaphor. She doesn't exist. She's just a myth. She's just a piece of poetry. Shakti was missing entirely. Heaven forbid you did it without a sheet between you. The Holy Spirit was gentlest. But then in the court, they had to consummate the marriage in front of like spectators. Like sick motherfuckers. Sorry. And give birth in front of like a whole court would watch your punani. Yeah. We were talking about the doctors. Then they became male, okay? And the women started going to the hospitals to have children, to have their babies. But they were dying. They were terrified because, more than half the women died of puerperal fever, which was an infection after giving birth. But now these doctors were so disgusting. This is Germany, this is England, this is not very long ago. My mother's favorite story. And they had these butcher aprons, and the more pus and blood and geek and goop that they had, the more revered they were. I mean, it's so disgusting. And then there was a man, luckily he didn't commit suicide, but close to. And his name, I think it was Albert Semmelweis. He was an Austrian doctor. And he wondered why all these women were dying of puerperal fever, because this doctor would like watch somebody's abscesses and their rotten gangrene, and then he'd go and stick his fingers up her punani and help her give birth. So I love you too, Scotty. Are you going or are you still hanging on? We've got the punani break here. And he just thought, well, what? They want to go to midwives. They don't want to come to the hospital, but they couldn't go to midwives anymore. They were basically forbidden. So, and he started to wash his hands. And they laughed at him. They ridiculed. He started to wear clean clothes. Like he would not have this blood and pus of a week on his apron. He had clean things he started to wash. And they ridiculed him for years. But then eventually they noticed that his patients didn't die. And it took a good 20 to 30 years after he started washing his hands for the rest of the idiots to start washing their hands. True story. His name was Semmelweis. It's tragic. It's absolute tragedy. You know, women, the first thing they do is boil water for tea and for cleanliness. Oy, oy, oy. The Divine Mother was shattered into pieces. Poor old, okay. So we have the return in the mystics, the Black Madonna shrines, in the rise of the feminine in the body, in new revelations. And so the mother is returning in all, as I said, just come from the heart. The Shakti is the bottom and the sphere is the top. So it's the power and the wisdom. I'm not going to show you pictures now. I don't know where I put it, but I did. I need to redo it all over again. So this was actually what I was going to talk about tonight, but I don't know what the time is and if anybody's still here, so maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So what I was going to say today, I'm going to say tomorrow. Oh, that's so sweet, Scotty. I love it when my dog crawls under the blanket. And he does, and he cuddles up, and then he's really cold. He's not a cuddly dog. He's more of a cosmic dancing dragon that likes to fly through mirrors. So we're going to do this tomorrow, which is the pre-Christian, the African teaching, the Ethiopian church, which is part of the Queen of Sheba, which is from the tradition of Solomon. I'll just give you a little prehistory of it. So I did the other day, but like Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, she went to go and visit Solomon, and he fetched her, or he sent her home. He fetched her in flying craft. It's in the Bible. You can read it. And she was reported to be, she was Queen of Ethiopia, Queen of Sheba. She was Queen of Ethiopia, and she was she took so much gold. She was also very, very wealthy, and he was totally enamored with her. But she actually said to him, "You're not to make any advances on me." And he did. He didn't stick to his word, and she left. She was like really pissed off. But she was pregnant, and he apparently looked exactly like Solomon. And Solomon was black. He had a beautiful black boy, because Bathsheba, I mean, this is another horror story, you know, David. David would watch Bathsheba, but Bathsheba knew what she was doing. You know, he was married to Michelle, and she would like stand at her open window and do her bath, her bathing, you know, so wash herself in a big bathtub. So she would stand naked and wash herself down and soap herself up. And David would watch and get pretty horny, so eventually he couldn't handle this anymore. So he had an affair with Bathsheba, but she was married to his general called Uriah, not Uriah Heep, but Uriah. And he said, okay, then she was pregnant. So she must have been black, because Solomon was born black, and maybe David was also quite dark. I mean, I don't know how many. It's like the Bible. I have read it. It's like all these little. Can you imagine? It's got all these little bags of foreskins. I mean, like disgusting. You want to? I mean, it should be banned. It's actually definitely not literature for anybody to read. Good night, Scotty. I love you, my love. Grace, I think we should go, my beautiful one. I know, I've been on here for so long. My morning, okay. We'll catch you in the morning. That sounds perfect, because, yeah, I don't know who's still here. So we will go into this whole Ethiopian thing. So as I said, that was just like a very quick introduction. So she just, the last thing that she did, she really liked him very much, and she said that she would stop her country would stop worshipping the nature spirits like the Hebrews, like the Jews, like Solomon's temple, and they would like give allegiance or their hearts to one God. So that's the little like introduction to the Ethiopian church. So we will discuss it tomorrow. I'm married. Love you, Grace. We'll speak tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing. We're playing. Oh, God, we're playing and flying. And just remember that we are going through a little bit of tough time as well. And that's 22:22. I really think I should go to bed. Oh, I did start quite late. But I have been yakking for 2.5 hours. That's atrocious. Let me go. I don't know what I'm saying. I do know what I'm doing. Yeah. Well, that's why I say love. Love has no respect. But it's, yeah. There's some things that are not like. But what is, you know what's like the worst thing that Shiva doesn't like? I ask weird questions. What doesn't Shiva like? Shiva doesn't like you to destroy a man's wealth. To covet his wealth. And his wife, they don't like doing that. It's complicated and entangled, and it's like, it's best not to go there because love has no respect. You know, love just goes, and gets hugely mixed with lust, and it's very complicated. That's why it's really nice for some people to have like a few wives. The Muslims do, but they have to be able to look after them. They can't just have all these wives. It's like it's written that they have to be able to maintain them. And then there was like, was it the sister of Ram who she wished for all these attributes in a man, so she got like 8 husbands. So she must have. You're not scared of Shiva. No, don't be. If you haven't like taken somebody's wealth, that's the only thing that he really doesn't like. Yeah, Shiva's cool. So, all that other stuff is like they understand this like crazy love triangle things. They're not like totally acceptable, but they're not like totally out of the picture. Not like Pope Gregory and all those others, And all the babies, fuck, In Ireland, I read some books, true stories. Oh my God! Between the church, where the priests, between the monastery and the nunnery, there was always like an underground passage, and how many dead babies there were under there. What, Scotty? That would be so interesting. What? Oh, I'd love to have a Zoom. What about having different wives or sleeping with somebody else's wife? Nobody likes you to sleep with their wife. It's easier to sleep with somebody's wife than to have your wife be slept with by somebody. You try to convince me it's okay to marry. Yeah. Yeah, those are, some are a little crazy. Yeah. Yeah. But in the West, they were getting married at like 4. Some were like 12, 12 and 14, and they had to consummate this thing. It's like, but yeah. No, but those there's but don't like tar everybody with the same brush. because most of them aren't like that, but then there are obviously a lot that are. Yeah? It's okay to sleep with a child, I know, but it's absolutely not. But the West is definitely not any better. That's absolutely not. Having come from that scenario, it's not. It's absolutely not. Absolutely not. Pedophiles. Pedophiles and pornography. Tantra is different. And that's why, I mean, the Indians, they have this beautiful book called the Kama Sutra. And it's just not about sex. It is about, and it's beautiful, but it's how to pleasure each other, including fabulous postures. But, how to make perfumed and perfumed water, and how to cook, and how to sing, and what songs to sing. And afterwards, he doesn't roll over and goes to sleep. He takes you outside and tells you about the stars. Things have changed. That's why I asked for I don't understand. For an ID. Oh, for an ID. For what? For an ID. Okay. No. But so many men like this young, I don't know what it is. It goes with this whole Mary thing. It's like to deflower. It's all across the world, I think. It's obviously not okay. In Japan, they would pay very, very, very high price for a young virgin. And then you have the geishas, which are like highly trained, highly trained. Not just in the art of sex. Sex is like part of it, absolutely. But not always. It's about being an amazing consort to, and entertaining, and doing tea and singing and telling stories and jokes and entertaining and being that's more what a geisha is. Yeah, otherwise you jailbait. Eh? I don't know what's the age in America. 16, 18, 21. It's slightly different. In Germany, it's sick. It's 14. It's a consensual age of sex. It's not like hugely widely publicized, but if they didn't have it then there, because there's a lot of, girls start early. Oops, I fell pregnant. I don't know how you fall pregnant, but you do. So they would be, and if there was a law, then they would have all these little young boys or old boys. But it's not accepted to have a young boy and old boy and a young boy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it's complicated. That's why Germany do it at 14, so that they don't have every second boy or every second girl in jail. Because, like, if you speak to people in some of these areas, and they're like, they're so proud they had their baby at 14. Okay, good for you. But, the Germans have a lot of, like, 18 in America. And if you're under 30, I'm like, what? Yeah. But, yeah, people like these young. My mother had a boyfriend, and I was just 11. Yeah. I think when I think about it, I think that he actually kind of slipped his way through the family. And now I don't know where he came from, but I think it was from my sister, actually, because all I know And then my mother said, but he was your boyfriend. He was mine. Fuck. Yeah. And it's what's really sad, Scotty, is that when you talk in a group of women, and there will be like 8 women, and 7 of them will, if not 8, will have been molested on some level as a small child by the auntie or the uncle or the neighbor, and boys too. It's like I'm gonna cry and my heart breaks. You know? I had a friend who was gay. I look at an older man, a fabulous guy from the France. Crazy nuts people, they're nuts. And he said, really, I mean, they laugh about everything, but I think there's a lot of pain. That he was very poor when he was younger. His mother was very poor. And he would go to the butcher, and the butcher would play with his sausage with a small kid, so that he could get meat and take sausages home to his mother. So, yeah. There is a line. But where do you know, like, later in my life, because this went on for a long time with this guy, and there was, because then it was statutory rape, and then there was a whole court case, and that was really, really horrible. And that whole lead up to that, I can't believe I'm telling you this, even speaking about it. And he told the judge that I had an overactive imagination, and he got off. And that's why I do things I like. I don't use my imagination. It must be very real for me, because it's like such a stigma of having an overactive imagination. So I like to prove things or really see things, yeah, or do things that are completely new and figure them out. But yeah, you lose, whatever age you are when you first lose yourself, that's kind of where you emotionally stop. But yeah, as I say, I don't, because it was so weird. Like the first day it happened, it's like the bed broke. My bed broke. So there's like always like the angels if you go back and you think about it. And I left my husband, and my daughter was, how old was she? She was 5. She was 5. Jeremy was like, she was 5, 6. And she told me, I just woke up one day. That's when I had my first awake, my big craziness in 87. Wow! Just sat up in bed, and it was like, okay, stop smoking, get rid of Bill. Like, what the fuck? Wow, 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 wow. And it was really sad, because he said to me he was about to move in. It was like an interesting case. He eventually committed suicide. And we had just gone to a party, and I think somebody had sparked the punch a little bit. Not that I knew acid too much, but he carried Melissa up into her bedroom, and she told me many years later that he'd actually fingered her, and she was little. But he had, when he died, there were so many women. It was like, oh fuck, who's who in this zoo? Yeah. Mm. Hmm. So Christos said, fuck. Yeah, she can say that. And in my experience, the ones to really worry about are the introverts, the accountants. They go mad at parties. They go completely insane. The ones that are extrovert and dress crazy and all of that, those guys are usually got together. No. And it does, it messes, and I'm sure it messes up boys and girls. But this is where the world turning to. On some level, it's kind of got better. On other levels, it hasn't. I mean, that whole like molestation of boys, girls, you know, in the old here, in the landholders, the king could, and the landholders in England and here, they owned everybody, you know. So if you wanted your daughter, and they usually did, they just screwed their way through all the people, the workers' daughters and sons. Mhm. All dreadfully. And then, of course, you have your the slavery, so don't even, you know, so it's all kind of tacky. And then you have your Jimmy Swaggart, you know, and it's in the church, it's and you know, the happy clappy churches, they definitely didn't break away there like even more. And then people frown on those that are like, you know, those in Salt Lake City that have as many wives as they want. So I don't think it's a bad thing. A lot of the women say it's wonderful. You know. No, but I don't know how he copes with a harem of 100 women. And if you want, I found this out. I thought I'm going to go and join a sheik. I want a sheik. I want a rich sheik. You can actually ask to join a harem. Anyway, Scotty, I love you, my love. And thank you so much for being here. And if you're not here tomorrow, please do try be here on Friday because I will definitely be discussing something interesting. I do hope. I love you so much. I do have such a deep, sweet space in my heart and in my soul and definitely in my astral. And you know, you're doing great work out there. But you don't need to hear it. Sounds like just carry on doing what you do. You're absolutely fabulous. And listen to that music. Yeah, if you're battling with the Trinity, just the Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, but you'll talk to them on your level. Gazunti. Gazunti. I don't know what Gazunti is, but it sounds like an absolutely fabulous word that I should be using. Gazunti. Do you know that there's a beautiful comet called Hawaii who's very aspected and coming around, I think, in January. So I was thinking about the bubble boy. Bubble boy. I don't know what happened to bubble boy. He didn't want to be Shiva. He told me I was like, yeah, oh, here's my dream. Oh, Melissa was there as well. Oh, there we go. There's even a number. I must do this. This was 1,676 rand petrol. Oh, fuck, you know, I'm so glad I write these things because I don't remember reading this at all. But you were very strongly there. Okay, so I'll go back and read that dream. It was like such a big wild dream. Yeah. Oh, good. They are. I mean, they need like a whole, you know, America's gone through so much upheaval, both the male and the female, right? That's why they, I mean, yeah, even here, you know, the women are they've got a lot of their Shakti power here. Women are quite strong. It's different, yeah. Which is why a lot of the men like the Taiwanese brides, you know. And I think in America too, because they talk that way. They talk, you know, it's subservient, but it's like also hey, you know, it's different things. We work on this is a very, very beautiful, wonderful topic, but it is different cultures. And as some great person said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, or render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So up to some point, you know. Respect, my love. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And this is my best Debbie. She is beautiful. She is the mother. So I hope you see her like that one day. Namaste, my beautiful one, which means I see the light in you. Thank you. Love you too, my lovey. Take good care and thank you so much. And I might see you in the morning and I might just like be sleeping. Ciao, ciao. Kiss the sun for me, please. I love California.